All right, this is Jeff Nager with AMD World Championship of Custom Bike Building at the 72nd Sturgis Rally here in Sturgis, South Dakota. I'm standing next to Jeremy Cupp. And Jeremy, this is an award-winning bike. As a matter of fact, it's won some money already.
It has. I won the show in the Ultimate Builder show in Charlotte, which paid pretty well, and went on to Daytona from there for the national deal, and won $6,000 at that one, so that took good care of me and got me here to Sturgis.
Well, we'd love to have you out here, and this is an award-winning bike. Tell us a little bit about the inspiration that you have for this bike, and how these ideas come together.
Really, this bike, the intention originally was to bring it to the AMD show last year. I missed the mark a little bit, so we're catching up for lost time right now, but I kind of did a hill climb style bike based on Sturgis being a hill climb and the history with the Jack Pine Gypsies, and thought it would be cool to kind of pay a little bit of tribute to that. I'm also really into anything, 20s, 30s era. I like real mechanical things. There's no set pattern in those days, they were doing their experiment of their own, allows me to do the same, and it fits the bike still, so it works out pretty well for both of us.
Now this is the Ironhead Sportster engine, but it does have that 20s, 30s look.
Yes, I kind of like to mix a little modern technology in with the, rather than just reproducing an antique style motorcycle. I use a little bit of everything from CNC equipment to a hammer and a torch, throughout the bike, and try to blend them all together and make them look like they're supposed to be that way.
Well, let's start at the front end and talk about the Springer front end and how you set that up.
The front end was actually really loosely based off of an early Excelsior front end. I just like the style of it. Similar to a conventional Springer, but it's got a different look to it. I've got the dampener I'm using from it's actually an early British rear shock that I'm using for dampening on it.
Well, that's got a very Sano look to it. It looks like the gas tank might have taken days, maybe even months to pull together.
Well, the tanks were they're always kind of a trick, it's the centerpiece of the bike for most people, so they've got to come out the way they need to. I would say sheet metal fabrication is my weak point, so the old square style tanks do good for me.
Well, it really pulls it all together. Talk about your driveline.
The drivetrain is actually it's a little trickier. It's a 76 Ironhead Sportster engine that I started with. I'm using two rear heads. The one's turned 180 degrees on the front side there, which allowed me for the dual intake carburetors and opposing exhaust. I back-halved it. It's a 54 BSA transmission behind it. It's using a 73 Triumph clutch that I cut up a little bit. Really, it was the open rockers and whatnot. The idea came from the early knuckles and whatnot when you leave the dust covers off and get to see everything work. So I tried to come up with a better idea so that we're not slinging oil and grease and dirt in there. So I basically sealed everything up, and I'm injecting oil just where it needs to be, recycling it back into the cases, and to my surprise, it worked really well. So.
And this bike's been on some, it's been in some magazines. Which magazines has it been in so far?
It's actually hasn't been printed yet, but it's due to be on the cover of Cycle Source magazine. I believe it's the October issue that it'll be on. Backstreet Heroes of Europe is doing it, and Custom Bike of Germany will be doing it as well. So,
now talk about the drivetrain to the rear wheel. What's interesting is that you got dual chains. So how did that come together?
Yeah, I did a jack shafted setup so that I could run a drivetrain on each side of the bike. Just thinking with the strength that'd be required in the whole hill climbing, deal. And again, going back to that era, it looks like it might have been done. I didn't see it happen, but it was a neat idea for me to work around and give me some extra mechanical features.
And how long did it take from inception to completion to get this bike together?
I worked on this bike for about a year and a half. I'm still carrying a 40-hour job, and I do a line of production parts, which Lowbrow Customs has been selling really well for me. So, you know, my time's pretty tight, and a garden on top of all that. So, you know, about a bike a year is what I'm able to get out.
So if somebody was interested in getting some of your parts or finding out more about your work, where would they go online and what telephone number would they call?
I've got a website of my own. It's www.lcfabrications.com. Like me on Facebook, and parts are most easily available through Lowbrow, and I support those guys and would appreciate you to do the same. So.
All right, well, thanks. It's an outstanding bike. It's an award winner for the Ultimate Builder, and I'm sure you're going to do very well today.
I hope so. We'll see how it turns out.
All right.